Let us begin the session. I thank DJ Rekha ma'am, Traders Carnival, for inviting me to this session of the Traders Carnival in Goa. I'm grateful to them. I was one of the speakers for Traders Carnival 2020 also, which was held in Jaipur just before the COVID pandemic. And there I had spoken on the subject of RSI. The subject that I'm going to cover today is trading edge with relative strength. So friends, before I begin my session, what is an edge? Edge is not something, it's not like a holy grail thing. Edge is anything which improves your existing setup. It can be a 2-bar candle combination. It can be a combination on an indicator like RSI. It can be a combination on moving average. It can be a combination on price action. So edge is anything which improves the chances of the success of your trade. So technical analysis is all about probabilities. There is no such thing that a particular setup is going to work all the time. What we do know about setups is that there is something called probability. When we backtest, when we use a particular setup, we know that, okay, this setup is going to work 6 or 7 or 5 out of 10 times. So we use edge to improve this probability. So the topic which I am covering today is relative strength, and it may prove to be useful to you in your positional trading setups. I am basically a positional trader, and this setup is very useful for positional trading. Okay, so first and foremost, what is relative strength? So, okay, this is a bit of a theory, but we are going to understand this with the help of a lot of examples. What is important is to understand what is relative strength. Friends, relative strength is a method of identifying stocks and sectors which are relatively stronger than the broader markets. So, it is a study whereby we identify sectors which are presently outperforming the markets, stocks within those sectors which are outperforming the markets. Those who do positional trading, those who are keenly tracking the markets, they must have noticed that few days back metals were doing well, particularly metal stocks like aluminum stocks like Hindalco, Tata Steel, Nalco. These stocks were doing really well. And after that, we saw mid-cap IT stocks started doing well. So how do you identify that which sector is going to do well currently? So basically, relative strength focuses on this aspect of trading. Choosing the right stocks and being in the right stocks, be it for the purpose of investing or be it for the purpose of trading. So in relative strength, friends, we compare the sector or the stock with an underlying. That underlying may be a Nifty 50 index or Nifty 500. Suppose we want to check a relative strength of a stock which is within a Nifty 50, which is a component of Nifty 50. Then obviously we are going to do the comparison with Nifty 50. For a stock which does not belong to the universe of Nifty 50, we may compare it with a broader index like Nifty 500. Similarly, if something belongs to the banking pack, something like an ICICI Bank or an Axis Bank, we may compare it with Bank Nifty or even with Nifty. So our basic agenda is to find out which stocks are outperforming and which are the weak ones in the market. So friends, if a stock is outperforming the market, the relative strength is considered to be strong. And if the stock is underperforming the market, the relative strength is considered to be weak. So what does this exactly mean? It means, let's say over a period of time, my Nifty increases by 5%. And something like a ICICI Bank over a similar period of time has rallied more than 8%. So that means my ICICI Bank is the outperforming, it is outperforming basically the index, in this case Nifty. Something like an HDFC Bank, let's say over a period of time Nifty has rallied 5% and Bank has done only 2% over that period of time. So it means my HDFC Bank is underperforming the broader markets. So obviously, we would like to be in ICICI Bank for the purposes of trading and investing rather than HDFC Bank, because our agenda, our motive of trading is to make quick profits, fast profits, be in strong sectors and strong stocks. So this is basically the concept of relative strength, and we are going to discuss it in detail. So friends, relative strength matters to the traders and investors because we would like to be in stocks which are giving better return than the broader markets. Markets, friends, may have various phases. Market may be up, market may be sideways, and market may be down. But there are always stocks and sectors within the market. There is, as there is a saying, there is always a bull in the market. So last week you saw that when Nifty was corrected more than 1,000 points within a span of 3 days, we saw that IT stocks like Infosys, HCL, Wipro, mid-cap IT stocks like Larsen & Toubro, Infotech, and many more, Mindtree, they held their ground around the 200-day moving average. They were not correcting. Why? Because the strength was strong and they were waiting for the market to turn. And as we saw yesterday, when the markets turned, the first pack to outperform were the IT stocks. Most of the IT stocks rallied 3 to 5% yesterday. So with relative strength, we are able to identify such stocks and sectors. Now this is a chart of, we have Nifty at the top. So we are going to try to understand the concept of relative strength in a very simple fashion before we go into the details. On the top of the screen, we have the chart of Nifty, and we are doing a comparison of the pre-COVID era. Which stocks and sectors were outperforming after the COVID crash? You can see, friends, on the screen, on the top, I have plotted the line chart of Nifty, and at the bottom, we have the line chart of Bank Nifty. So you can see that Nifty was able to regain its pre-COVID high more or less around 9th of November, whereas Bank Nifty recovered its pre-COVID high around 1st Feb 2021, a good 3 to 4 months after Nifty. So it is evident from this chart that Bank Nifty, after the COVID crash, was underperforming Nifty, and Nifty was outperforming Bank Nifty. In the next screen, we have compared Nifty with CNX FMCG. So more or less in this screen, what we are seeing is that both the sectors, this is basically, friends, a line chart. Again, Nifty recovered its pre-COVID high at around 9th of November, and Nifty FMCG recovered around its pre-COVID high around 20th December. So there is not much of a difference. Both the stocks, none of them was outperforming each other. Both of them had similar trajectories in terms of outperformance. Again, now we are comparing Nifty with CNX Auto. So friends, you can see in the screen, again, Nifty obviously recovered its pre-COVID high at around 9th November. CNX Auto recovered its pre-COVID high at around 17th November. Again, there is no outperformance or underperformance vis-a-vis these two sectors at the time of the pre-COVID recovery. I'm not talking about the later part, that we'll cover later. Metals. Friends, Nifty recovers its pre-COVID high at around 9th of November. Metals recovered its pre-COVID high around 2nd December. Again, till there was no underperformance or outperformance till this point, as you can see on the charts. Now, this is the most important chart, friends. I have shown you other sectors. So we have come to a conclusion by looking at those charts that after the COVID crash, most of the sectors were even with Nifty except Bank Nifty, which was underperforming Nifty. And this is the chart of Nifty IT. Friends, this is the most important chart, and I would like to spend some time on this chart. You can see that Nifty recovered its pre-COVID high at around 9th November 2020, whereas Nifty IT, it regained its high, pre-COVID high at around 17th July 2020. So friends, this is the concept of outperformance. Nifty was the outperforming sector much before even CNX IT was the outperforming sector much before even Nifty could recover its pre-COVID high. So what do we get out of this? That It is clear from the previous slides that after the COVID crash of 2020, one of the first sectors to show strength was Nifty IT. So if somebody was investing after the COVID crash, his focus in the beginning should have been on Nifty IT, because as investors, we focus on stocks and sectors which started recovering first after the COVID crash. So somebody who had invested, who had identified this phenomena after the COVID crash, he would have invested in Nifty and IT, and he would have made phenomenal gains after that, because this sector had relative strength. If after the COVID crash, somebody had taken a decision, let's say we will invest in a banking stock or in a component of a banking stock, obviously stocks did increase. Relative strength does not mean that stock prices will not increase. Relative strength means which stock is going to outperform the sector, which stock is going to move more faster than the other sector. So had we invested in any of the components, let's say ICICI, same amount of capital in a banking sector stocks, and at the same time we had invested in IT stocks would have given much higher return in comparison to the other sectors. So the bottom line is, capital is precious. We need to allocate it into sectors which can give a good return in a short span of time. So friends, this is the very basic concept of relative strength, and we are going to go into much detail and try to understand how we can take advantage of relative strength in our day-to-day trading and investing. So friends, what does outperformance means in relative strength? What does it actually mean? Obviously, if the stock is, the general misconception is, okay, the stock is increasing over the period of time, so it is outperforming. No, it's not exactly that. So when the markets are up, stock is more up. So obviously it has got a strong RS. Let's say market is up 5%, stock is up 8%. Obviously it is outperforming. That particular stock has got a strong relative strength. The second kind of phenomena is market is down. Let's say over a period of time, my broader index is down 4% and my stock is up 2%. So we have a 6% gap between the stock and the sector. Again, the stock has got a strong relative strength. Market is flat. Market is doing absolutely nothing. But at the same time, there are certain stocks and sectors which are doing much better than the market. So once again, it qualifies as a stock with a strong relative strength. Market is down over a period of time. Let's say like it happened in last 10 to 15 days. Over a period of time, the broader index has corrected, but my stock is flat. Stock has done absolutely nothing. So even that is moderately strong RS, because it has outperformed the broader markets. Now the last and the most important point, market is down, stock is less down. Even that is moderately strong RS. So RS does not mean that the stock will not go down. The stock will go down, but if it has got a good RS, it will go down lesser than the broader markets. So I hope this point is clear to everyone, that RS does not necessarily mean that if I buy a stock which has got a strong RS, it will go up every day. The whole idea and the concept is कि, God forbid, when the market goes down over a period of time, my stock will correct lesser than the broader index. So this is the basic concept of outperformance in relative strength. Similarly, what does underperformance mean in relative strength? Market is down, stock is more down over a period of time. Obviously, it has got a weak relative strength, so we would not like to stay in such kind of stocks. Market is up, stock is down. Again, very weak RS. Suppose over a period of time, Nifty is up 5% and ITC has done nothing. So it is down. In fact, it is in a negative territory. Any stock which is giving negative returns and the broader index is giving positive returns, again, it would qualify in point number 2, which is weak RS. Market is flat over a period. So this comparison is made over a period of time. I'll show you how we'll do it with the help of ratio charts. Market is flat, stock is down. Again, it qualifies as a weak relative strength. Market is up, stock is less up, moderately weak relative strength. For example, if Nifty is rallying 5 to 7% over last 1 month, for example, it does. This is just a hypothetical thing which I'm telling you. And the other component of Nifty, let's say a particular stock from the FMCG sector is only of 1%. So why would I be in such kind of a stock? I want to be in a stock, I want to trade in a stock which is going to outperform the markets, because when the tide turns, those stocks are going to give the best returns. Market is up, stock is flat. Most of us have had this problem. Sometimes I get a call from my friend, he says, Amit, Nifty is up 300 points, but the stock which I have invested is doing absolutely nothing. Is something wrong with my destiny, or is something wrong with the stock? So basically, the fault that particular person has done is that he has invested or he has traded in a particular stock which has got a weaker relative strength. So a word of caution before we proceed with this session. Friends, do not confuse relative strength with relative strength index. These are two different things. Relative strength is a concept of identifying strong stocks and sectors, whereas relative strength index is a popular momentum indicator. So RS and RSI are different to each other. They have nothing to do with each other. RS is about strong stocks and strong sectors, and RSI is a momentum indicator, as we all know. So friends, how do we measure in our day-to-day trading? How do we take advantage about this concept of relative strength? One way to measure, there are various ways, but the thing that we are going to cover today, which is one of my favorite, is ratio charts. Relative strength can be measured by other means and other methods also, but I prefer ratio charts. So one way to measure relative strength is ratio charts. We can plot ratio charts by dividing the stock price with the relevant index of our choice. So for example, if we want to check the relative strength of CNX IT, there is an indicator, relative strength indicator in TradingView. I have published that, and at the end of the session, I will let you know the name of the indicator where you can easily plot the relative strength line. So please don't be worried ki how are we going to plot this ratio. So we can plot the ratio chart by dividing the stock price with the relevant index of our choice. For example, if Bank Nifty hypothetically is trading at 36,000 and my Nifty is trading at 18,000, we divide the price of the former and get a ratio. Divide the price of Bank Nifty by Nifty and we get a ratio of 2. Now this particular ratio is for that particular day. It is going to change every day based on the closing price of the other day. So it's going to be on your screen as a line chart. Just like you look at stock prices in terms of line chart, we will get a ratio line, a relative strength line, which is being computed on daily basis on the basis of this simple formula, and it will be depicted in form of a line chart. So a ratio chart would appear as a regular line chart on any charting platform plotted on the basis of closing prices. So friends, this particular indicator is not available on TradingView, but many have written this code also, including me. So at the end of this session, I will tell you what is the name of the indicator with the help of which you can plot this RS line or the ratio chart. So what is a ratio chart? Simply closing price of the stock divided by the closing price of the index. So index can be anything. Suppose I want to compare the strength of Reliance. Obviously, I will divide it by Nifty 50 because it is a component of Nifty to check the strength of Reliance, whether it is outperforming Nifty or it is underperforming Nifty. Something which does not belong to the Nifty 50 index, then what are we going to do? We can compare it with a broader index, the denominator, the closing price of the index in that case can be Nifty 500. Intersector strength. For example, if we want to see how Infosys is performing in comparison to Nifty IT, we can compare it with Nifty 50 also, but within the sector strength, then we would divide the price of Infosys by Nifty IT. Similarly, in case of a banking stock, for example, let's say IndusInd Bank, we will divide the price of IndusInd Bank by Bank Nifty if we want to check the intersector strength, and it would be depicted in form of a line chart. So the formula is written, it is no holy grail, it is no rocket science, it is a very simple formula. You simply divide the closing stock of the price and choose the index, whichever relevant index you want to plot. So how do we interpret, now that we have understood ki how to plot relative strength, so how do we use it in trading, friends? Ye kya hota hai? Relative strength, how do we use it? That is the most important part. So, simply speaking, when there is a line chart or any bar candle chart of a stock, and at the bottom of the pane we have this relative strength chart. So when the ratio line is going up, it means that the stock price is going up more relatively to the index. Why? Because my numerator is the stock and my denominator is the index. So obviously, if my line is going to go up, is going to make series of higher high, higher lows, it means that my stock is outperforming the index, and we would like to be in those kind of stocks and sectors. A falling ratio line, stock price is going up, but my RS line is falling. It depicts that my stock price is relatively underperforming the sector. It means what? So even if my stock price is going up, we can have a falling RS line. So this is a very important concept. Even if my stock price is going up, we can have a falling relative strength line. So what is the reason? That means my nominator, which is the stock price, is not increasing as rapidly as the denominator, which is the index in this case, and then we will have a falling RS line. So let us try to understand this concept with the help of few charts. Friends, I have written it everything for your convenience. This is the sector chart of Nifty IT. So the important thing to note is on the top of the pane, we have the candlestick chart of Nifty IT. And at the bottom, we have the RS chart. So what is RS? Closing price of CNX IT divided by closing price of Nifty. So once you put that formula into the system, we get it in form of a line chart, and it is plotted on a daily basis. Is this concept clear to everyone? Like the line chart, because it is important. I hope it is clear to everyone. The line chart which I have plotted at the bottom. So after the breakout, now we are not going to which breakout will work, that we'll cover later. So after the breakout, what do we see in Nifty IT? That it has got a rising RS line, series of higher high, higher low. So we would typically like to be in this kind of a sector, which is making series of higher high, higher lows, and has got a rising RS line. So that is telling me that any time I am investing in this particular sector, it is outperforming the index. Now till the time the trend of this RS line is broken, I would continue to believe that outperformance would continue. Now we have a chart of Wipro, and we have plotted a RS line in comparison with Nifty. So again, we are seeing, what are we seeing here, friends? After the breakout, we are seeing that the RS line is rising. RS line rising, the important thing to understand, the technical setup, how to use it, I will explain it later. But the most important thing that we need to understand by looking at this chart is simply that a rising RS line means that the stock is outperforming the sector. We don't need to understand anything else. If this concept is clear, then we can go ahead with the other concepts. A falling RS line. Friends, you can see this is a chart of HDFC line, and we have plotted a ratio chart by dividing the closing price of HDFC Life with the closing price of Nifty. So a falling RS line means that the stock is underperforming the sector. The stock is underperforming the sector. So you can see that after the breakout, HDFC went up a bit, but it again went up, but RS line was continuously falling. So basically, it is a weak stock. So weak stock would get you into trouble when the tide turns in the broader market. When the markets are hammered, these kind of stocks are going to be, smashed out of place. As we know what happened in HDFC Life. A stock which has got a weak RS line, what invariably happens is that when there is a broader market correction, these are going to correct like anything. So we go by the name of HDFC Group. We will say as traders, as investors, "Arey, ye to HDFC hai, what is wrong in it?" No. As traders and investors, we have to be very objective in our analysis. We don't go by names. Name means integrity and all that. That is all fine. But we have to go as per the charts. So there were a lot of recommendations over a period of time, ki let's invest in HDFC line, but I was never in favor of investing or trading in HDFC line simply because of the fact that the RS line was falling. It was underperforming the broader markets, and I knew when the tide would turn, one day when the correction would come, this stock is going to be hammered out of shape, and this is what exactly happened. ITC, I think this is a famous stock. It is doing nothing. For again, falling RS line, most of the time the breakouts were not successful. So I would like to avoid these kind of sectors because, friends, the point is that our capital is limited. Whatever trading or investing capital we have, that is limited. So we would like to put it into sectors and stocks which are strong so that they can give us a decent return. So if we invest something in ITC, it will be sideways and it will do nothing for you. So what is the point of investing in ITC when it is doing nothing? So this was the chart of ITC. This was the weekly chart in comparison with the ratio chart. Okay. Friends, again, this is a chart of ICICI Bank. So what we can see, okay, this stock I won't say has outperformed IT and other, but it still made a series of higher highs and higher lows after the breakout. So ICICI Bank, we can see it has a rising RS line. So more or less it did well. Amongst the banking stocks, ICICI did almost the best in comparison with other banks. When we compare it, the same thing, this is very important, with a stock like HDFC Bank. Again, what are we seeing? After the breakout, stock prices are moving, but my RS line is falling. So it is clear from these two slides that if we had a choice between ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank for the purposes of investment or for the purposes of trading, I would have invested or traded in ICICI Bank simply because of the fact that it had more strength than HDFC Bank. I will show you this particular comparison between ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank in a different manner also. So, friends, can we measure or understand the outperformance of ICICI Bank or HDFC Bank with the help of a ratio chart? Can we do a comparative study of the stocks within the same sector? So, till now, what have I told you? That we pick a stock and we compare it with the index. Let's say Nifty, Bank Nifty or anything. But this inter-sector comparison can be done by plotting the ratio charts among the stocks also. So suppose I have to take a decision within a sector whether I will invest in ICICI or whether I will invest in HDFC Bank, whether I will trade in ICICI Bank or whether I will trade in HDFC Bank. For a matter of fact, in CNX IT, which stock should I select? Should I select Infosys or Wipro? Or should we go for HCL Tech or should we go for Tech Mahindra? How do we decide that? Till now, we have only discussed about outperformance and underperformance. What does a relative strength line mean? And a very simple concept that something which has got a rising RS line, we should be invested. But what about which stock within the sector? How do we decide that? How do we decide? Why ICICI Bank? Why HDFC Bank? Why SBI? So what is the objective? What is the logic behind it? So we can plot this next screen is, friends. Now please pay attention. We have divided the stock price of ICICI Bank by HDFC Bank. So we have not divided it with the Nifty because currently in this particular chart, I am only making a comparison of underperformance or outperformance between ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank. So this is a ratio chart where the stock price of ICICI Bank has been divided by HDFC Bank and it has been plotted as a line chart. So what are we seeing on the left pane from July to whatever it is on the screen till 2020? You can see a rising RS line. My denominator is what? ICICI Bank and my denominator is HDFC Bank. So what are we seeing here? In the first portion, the chart has been divided into three sections. In the first section, we are seeing that HDFC Bank is outperforming, ICICI Bank is outperforming HDFC Bank. Then we are seeing from 20th Feb to almost till November 2020, we are seeing that the RS line of ICICI and HDFC Bank is falling, which implies that ICICI Bank is underperforming the HDFC Bank. But after the COVID crash since November 2020, please follow. ICICI Bank divided by HDFC Bank, rising RS line. So that means that Since 2020 till date, ICICI Bank is continuously outperforming HDFC Bank. So if somebody has X amount of capital and out of that X amount of capital, he wants to invest 5%, let's say, in a particular banking stock. So why would he invest in HDFC Bank? He would obviously go for ICICI Bank because we can clearly see outperformance between ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank. In the third part of the screen, you can see that the RS line is rising. So when would it rise? When my nominator, which is ICICI Bank in this case, would outperform the denominator, which is HDFC Bank. So till date, friends, we as traders, we have our bias. We will always say that I want to go with HDFC Bank. So, but that is not how we invest and that is not how we trade. All your decisions have to be based on certain logic. So here my logic is telling me that you should be invested in ICICI Bank rather than HDFC Bank. So it is clear from the previous slides that investing in ICICI Bank would have been a better choice than HDFC Bank due to strong relative strength. So relative, what does the word relative means? Relatively in comparison with HDFC Bank in this case. I am not comparing ICICI Bank with Infosys. I am not comparing ICICI Bank with Wipro. We can do that also by plotting a different chart. But in this previous two slides, my study was simply a simple question has been asked to you. Would you be investing in ICICI Bank or would you be invested in HDFC Bank? So that particular concept would only be clear once we plot the RS line of these two stocks. Friends, relative strength analysis is a leading study which helps us in spotting sectors and stocks which may outperform and the ones to avoid. So till now, as a basic thumb rule, a very basic thumb rule, even you will get the PPT, you will understand it, even if you have not understood anything or understood very little. As a thumb rule, the only thing to understand is stay invested in stocks which have a rising RS line. You will be in a better position. Avoid going long in stocks which have a falling RS line. So this is a very simple concept. Always be in stocks which have, which have a rising RS line. Okay, so we will do a relative strength study of various sectors on the monthly chart. This is a quick follow through before I come to the main setup. So what are we doing? We are dividing the sectoral index with Nifty over a period of last 20 years. Friends, this is the chart of CNX IT divided by Nifty. This is the monthly chart. So what are we saying till 2020, early 2000, if many of you remember, there was a dot-com crash after that. IT stocks were outperforming. Then from 2002 till 2020, IT was in a sideways range. It did almost nothing. The ratio you can see did nothing during this period of last 20 years. It was stuck in a sideways range. So how have we come to this RS line? Price of CNX IT divided by Nifty. And then in the month of August 2020, we saw a breakout in this sector. There was a breakout and the line started making a series of higher high, higher low. So there is a very big breakout in IT stocks, and believe me friends, this is not ending here. Unless this trend reverses, my firm belief is that IT stocks will continue to outperform over a significant period of time. Even if you measure the triangle target, we have not met that target also. And this is a monthly breakout. This is no ordinary breakout. So my bias will be IT stocks. Okay, I can't allocate everything into IT stocks, but my preference would be to trade and buy IT stocks on dips. So this breakout happened after a period of 20 years. We haven't met the targets also yet, and this would continue to outperform. Friends, next is CNX Auto. This is a relative strength line monthly chart. We have divided the price of CNX Auto by Nifty. So we can see that till 2008, the line was falling, the sector was underperforming. 2008 to 2016 was the best time to be invested in auto stocks. Rising RS line, simple concept. Currently, 2016 onwards, auto sector is underperforming as the ratio chart is showing because it has got a falling RS line. So auto stocks, the best period for auto stocks was from 2008 to 2016, which is evident from this chart. Friends, FMCG, I have divided this chart maybe into 5 sections. Till 1999, we saw a rising RS line, which means FMCG was outperforming. 1999 to 2007, again the RS line is falling. That means FMCG was underperforming the broader markets. Again, the best period for FMCG stocks was 2007 to 2013, when FMCG stocks were outperforming the market. So why I am showing you this is कि by plotting the monthly charts, we can find out which sector is outperforming the market. From 2013 to 2020, we can see that the sector was sideways. That means it was neither outperforming nor it was underperforming. And since November 2020, we can clearly see that FMCG stocks are grossly underperforming the broader markets. So this is not a sector I would like to be in. Metals, again monthly chart, CNX metal divided by Nifty. 2011 to 2015, gross underperformance. 2015 to 2018, metal stocks were outperforming. Then 2010 to 2020, again underperformance. Not a period where we would like to be invested in metal stocks. You can remember Tata Steel hitting almost the levels of 280 during this period. Hindalco was at record low. All the metal stocks were at a record low. And from 2020 March onwards, what are we seeing? That metal stocks are outperforming. And this chart is saying the trend in metal stocks is still up. The trend is not over. Metal stocks are still outperforming. This is a chart of Nifty Pharma, again monthly chart. You can see Pharma divided by Nifty. 2007 to 2015, Pharma stocks were outperforming. 2015 to 2019, they were underperforming. And 2019 onwards, there was a brief period of outperformance and they are once again sideways. This is Bank Nifty. Clearly 2020, we had a 20-year cycle where Bank Nifty stocks were outperforming Nifty. Continuous outperformance, rising RS line. And 2000, if I can see correctly on the screen, to December 2019 onwards, what we are seeing is that it is sideways or slightly down. It is not outperforming. Okay, before I move, sorry, how do I back? Now, any one of you from this place here can ask me, Amit, this is though a hindsight analysis. You have simply plotted the turns. So how do we do it in real time? How do we do in real time that underperformance is changing into outperformance and outperformance is changing into underperformance? Anyone can say that wherever it was turning, you plotted a line for this presentation and you simply came up with this idea. Yeah, it is true. I can't change what happened in the past. It is not for me to change. It has already happened. So how do we know? Can anybody tell me how do we know? Huh? Okay, so your idea is we should look at lower time frames. When underperformance is changing into outperformance and when outperformance is changing into underperformance. Anyone else? Indicators, oscillators. Anyone else? How do we know that the sector is now going to underperform or underperformance? Yes, sir. Please tell me. Last 6 months of? I didn't get you. I'm so sorry. Index. Okay. Anyone else? Ratio? No. Then you're getting it wrong. Ratio will never be less than 1, you're saying. Okay. Now you don't have to answer. You will answer that. I know that. I will not give Piyush bro. He is really good. And I know what I'm going to say. He's going to say the same thing. Kya Piyush bhai? Let others. I have great respect for Piyush bro. He is a real good trader. His concepts are so clear. Unbelievable concepts. And I've been following him on Twitter and I'm a big fan of his. So how do we know? Yeah, tell me, Santosh sir. Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you how I do it. So this is the chart of CNX metal. So till the time, I'm going to follow the simple concept of Dow theory. Till the time, the line chart, I'm not going into ratio, oscillators, index, anything. Till the time the line is making lower highs and lower lows, the sector is underperforming. Simple concept. Once it starts making higher high, higher lows, the sector starts outperforming. Is that clear to everyone? My first indication, how will I get the first indication? This 2020, the last peak, the last lower high. When is it going to ring a bell in the mind that something is turning? My first indication will be when the first lower high is taken out by the ratio line. So that will be my alert that things are changing. That would be my alert that things are changing. And then once the ratio starts, okay, this is a monthly chart, on smaller time frames, let's say weekly, daily. Because if we simply follow monthly, maybe we'll miss out the action and it will be too late. So I will not go below daily. On weekly and daily, when it starts making a series of higher high, higher lows, that means the sector is starting outperforming. Very simple concept. Is this clear to everyone? Very simple concept. No indicators, no moving averages, nothing. Piyush bro, yahi tha kya? I knew you knew it. So simple concept, nothing. Dekho, technical analysis, please don't make it complicated. The more simple things you use, I hardly use one or two indicators. I just use RS and RSI. I don't use anything else in trading. In fact, I don't even like horizontal slanting trend lines also because there is no evidence of trading here. I am a player of momentum. I just see whether this momentum can break resistance or it doesn't. Okay, there is a resistance, there is a support. As traders, we have to judge whether the momentum and the strength is strong enough to break that resistance or it will reverse. And that is how we take our decision. So now friends, this is a very interesting topic. What is the role of relative strength in a breakout? How can we filter a good breakout from a bad breakout? Relative strength can assess the strength of a breakout. Relative strength analysis helps us in increasing the probability of identifying a successful breakout. Relative strength analysis helps us in avoiding false breakout. Sometimes it may happen that after a price breakout, a stock is unable to move significantly. Our study helps us in avoiding such stocks. Okay, before I begin, this is not a holy grail concept. It is something which is going to increase your probability of a successful breakout. When I say, friends, I plot an RS line and it has to be successful, there is nothing like that in technical analysis. It's only little things in your analysis which makes your overall trading experience better. So I follow a simple concept. The relative, for the purposes of my breakout, I will show you this with the help of charts also. My relative strength line should be above 200 simple moving average, which will be plotted on the relative strength line, if we are looking at the daily charts as a filter for a positive bias. If we are looking at the weekly charts, I will plot a 52 simple moving average on the relative strength line, not on the price chart. And if it is above that, my bias is initially bullish. RS line should be visually rising. RS line should take out the last swing high before the price breakout. So these are the 4 conditions I need to filter out. Yeah.
I want to discuss something on this.
Yeah.
Let's suppose you are talking about the crossing of previous highs or previous lows. Suppose crossing, you're talking about basically crossing of previous highs and previous lows. So you're applying Dow theory. Now, for instance, can we, in your experience, can we implement something like a pace of acceleration and deceleration slowdown as well?
Yeah, we can do anything.
Yeah. I want to ask you something else also. So, yeah. Since we are talking index to index comparison, so the first layer can be an index to index comparison, say IT to Nifty or metals to Nifty or something, where there's a possibility of a mean reversion for an index to index comparison. So as a first layer, if we can put something like an acceleration or deceleration slower down, and then we take a bet on a newer sector that can rise on the basis of relative strength, and then pick the stocks which are possibly crossing the previous highs or previous lows, whichever.
Yeah, we can do that. I'll show that in the breakouts also. That is how we do it. Great. We can always do that. So, Friends, this is a chart of JSW Steel. So when JSW is taking out its 52-week high, what are we seeing? That we have, at the time of the breakout, we have a rising RS line. RS line, this comparison has been made with Nifty, and RS line is above the 200-day. This red line which is plotted on the RS line is a 200-day. It's just a basic filter. 200-day simple moving average on the RS line, and the last swing high on the RS line is taken out just before the breakout. So this is ideally the kind of setup I would like to see at the time of a breakout, and I'll tell you why. Same chart, you can see one breakout is working and the other breakout has failed. Same chart. Hero MotoCorp, this is the daily chart. What we are seeing is that during the first breakout, my RS line was rising. It was above the 200-day simple moving average line. The last swing high on RS line was taken out just before the breakout. So the breakout worked well. But the second breakout, which is on the right side of the screen, you can clearly see that at the time of the breakout, my stock was underperforming the market, and it was below the 200-day moving average also, and the last swing high was not taken out. Same chart, one breakout is working, the other breakout is not working. RS line is filtering out. So at the time of a breakout, I would like to see stocks which are strong, which have got a rising RS line, and they are outperforming the markets because it increases the probability of the success. There is no such thing as holy grail, but it increases the probability of a successful breakout. Again, Tata Steel chart, similar thing. When the 52-week high was taken out, my RS line was rising. At the bottom, there is a last swing high which was taken out by the RS line. It is above the 200-day simple moving average, and the breakout worked well after that. HDFC Bank, very recent chart. So above this level, if I can see correctly on the screen, above this level of around 1640, there was a breakout in HDFC Bank. Few weeks back, there was a breakout in HDFC Bank. But at the time of the breakout, you can clearly see that my RS line is falling. The stock is underperforming the market. It is below the 200-day SMA line, which has been plotted on the RS line. And even the last swing high on the RS line was not taken out at the time of the breakout. So what do you see the result? That breakout did not work. So I'm not trying to say anywhere that all the time you have to have RS line. I'm simply saying that at the time of breakouts, if you implement this RS concept, your probability of success may go up. There is no such thing as holy grail ki ye kiya to work karega hi. But there is something called ye kiya to maybe my probability will go up, nothing else. This is the weekly, daily chart of Ultratech. Again, you can see the first breakout working and the second breakout is not working. Similar difference. At the time of the first breakout, you can see I have a rising RS line. It is above the 200-day SMA plotted on the RS line. The last swing high on the RS line has been taken out. And the first breakout worked, the second breakout failed. Again, it is evident that at the time of the second breakout, my RS line was falling. So I will not take stocks for breakout which have a falling RS line. And it failed to take the last blue dotted line, which was the last swing high on the RS line. Price is making a new high, but my RS line is falling and it is not making a new high. So I would like to avoid these stocks, and it would help us in detecting false breakouts. Friends, this is another very important concept. How do you spot a super strong stock? How do we know that a stock is very strong? This phenomenon is generally seen after there is a crash or there is a big correction in the market. So how do we identify which stock is one of the strongest stocks? I'll just reverse. A super strong stock is one where price is correcting, friends. Price correct kar raha hai. But my RS line is continuously rising even at the time of the correction. My RS line is continuously rising even at the time of the correction. There is a divergence between stock price and the RS line. Price बोल रहा है मैं नीचे जा रहा हूं. जैसे हम कहते हैं ना बॉम्बे में भाव भगवान छे whatever. Price नीचे जा रहा है but RS line continuously ऊपर. एक बार भी नीचे नहीं. So stock क्या बोल रहा है यार, ये correction, when this correction will be over, I will be the first one to run the 100-meter sprint race. I am waiting for the market conditions to improve. I am waiting for the overall market scenario. I want to go up. But why can't I go up? Because the market conditions are currently not suitable. So that is being shown in the RS line. तो आप देखोगे, this is the chart of Infosys after the crash. Can you see price is correcting? But from point number 1, from where the crash started, my RS line is rising, continuously rising. But from point number 1, from where the crash started, my RS line is rising, continuously rising. RS line एक बार भी नीचे नहीं गई. It was continuously rising. So what was Infosys telling us? कि बॉस एक बार ये करेक्शन ओवर हो जाने दो, उसके बाद मैं दिखाऊंगा कि मैं क्या हूँ. या निफ्टी Piyush bro, I am doing most of the comparison for Nifty 50 stocks. I am doing it in Nifty, and if something is not belonging to the Nifty 50, then I take Nifty 500. Obviously, we can do it with the CNX IT also if we are doing inter-stock comparison. But broadly, मेरा experience ये है कि all the Nifty stocks are doing well in comparison with Nifty 50. और जैसे कि मैंने बोला, I basically trade friends in blue chip stocks and the best stocks. I don't, because I can't focus on too many stocks. My portfolio is around 20-25 stocks which I focus on. So आप देख रहे हो कि after this correction, before the breakout, price is falling on the weekly charts. RS line is continuously rising. So that means market बहुत बुरी तरह से correct हो रहा है, but Infosys उतना नहीं correct हो रहा है. So that is showing innate strength. That is showing innate strength. So once this correction is over, you can see the rally in Infosys after the breakout, because इसने अपनी strength even दिखाई in a falling market. Please try to understand this. Why ये RS line ऊपर कैसे गया? How did we have a rising RS line? How did we have a rising RS line? That means market was correcting massively, but Infosys was almost not correcting at all. थोड़ा बहुत हल्का फुल्का correction. Yeah. I use weekly and daily, not below that. Another stock, Tata Consumer Products. देखो क्रैश के बाद एक बार भी RS line नीचे आई क्या? It is a very strong stock at that point of time, because study has to be done on a continuous basis. कोविड के बाद क्रैश हुआ, RS line एक दिन भी नीचे नहीं गई. So this is a super strong stock. Once market conditions improve, once a breakout takes place, these kind of stocks are going to run like, long-term marathon runners. These are wealth creators after the breakout. This is personally my experience. RS line एक बार भी correct नहीं की. That means ये stock बोल रहा है, मैं बहुत strong हूँ. I am really strong. I am just waiting for the market conditions to improve. Once the broader market correction is over, I will be the first one to win the 100-meter race. Larsen & Toubro Infotech, another thing, it is correcting after the COVID crash, and just before the breakout, my RS line is continuously rising. So no underperformance at all. Even this stock is waiting and telling कि एक बार general market conditions improve and I will be the first one to run. So we would like to be in strong stocks, not weak stocks, because when the market turns, last week, friends, I was on CNBC Awaz. I played a show called Khiladi Number 1, and of all the calls which I had given, I was basically focusing on mid-cap IT stocks because they were showing some similar kind of characteristics. Market used to correct last week. Nifty used to be down in a day 200, 300 day points. मेरे लिए बहुत difficult था short call देना, because if it reverses, my returns would go down and I would lose. So I was giving long calls after long calls on IT sectors. Even day before yesterday, I gave a long call on NTI and it was up 4% yesterday. Another concept of relative strength, day before yesterday, I gave Cipla. So a lot of people asked me कि आपने Cipla क्यों दिया? What was the reason behind it? So अभी मैं relative strength के concept में नहीं जाता. If you see the characteristic of Cipla in last 5 to 10 days or last 5 to 15 days, market corrected before yesterday 1,000 points in 3 days. Nifty, it corrected. ये देखो, ये इसको हमारे पंजाबी में कहते हैं झटका एनालिसिस. चार्ट जाए तेल लेने, नजर क्या आ रहा वो बताओ. निफ्टी करेक्टेड बाय 1,000 पॉइंट्स. मुझे कोई आरएस लाइन देखने की जरूरत नहीं है, मुझे कोई चार्ट देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. निफ्टी करेक्टेड बाय 1,000 पॉइंट्स. सिप्ला क्लोजिंग बेसिस में 930 के भी नीचे नहीं गया। विक कैंडल में विक नीचे बनता था सारे शॉर्ट टर्म मूविंग एवरेजेस के ऊपर, और वापस विक क्लोज, ठीक है, इंट्राडे नीचे जाता था, एंड अगेन यूज्ड टू क्लोज अबव 930। एक बार भी उस स्टॉक ने वीकनेस नहीं दिखाई। तो इफ अ स्टॉक in a period of 3 days where there is a bear onslaught in the market is falling 1000 points, and if the stock is telling you, boss, I don't want to go down, then it is telling you something. You have to listen to that. अब मैं कोई RS chart उसमें नहीं देख रहा था, मैं बस ये एक छोटी सी observation देख रहा था, and I gave Cipla, and yesterday Cipla was up 3-2. I'm not saying कि I'll be correct all the time. Sometimes these things may not work at all. But this is the only thing, these are certain little things which can increase my probability. अब मैं बोलूँ जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ वही हमेशा सही होगा, वैसा कभी नहीं होता है. It's about probabilities. What are those little things in technical analysis? वो क्या छोटे छोटे पॉइंट आप ऐड करोगे कि आपका चांसेस ऑफ सक्सेस बढ़ेगा. So it's simple as that. So can relative strength warn us about an impending trend reversal? देखिए टॉप बॉटम में आई एम अ ट्रेंड ट्रेडर, आई एम नॉट समवन हु लाइक्स टू कैच अ टॉप एंड अ बॉटम, आई एम नॉट कंसर्न, बट ठीक है, बट फॉर इन्वेस्टिंग पर्पसेस आई मे सी इट कि कब एक स्टॉक का ट्रेंड चेंज हो रहा है फ्रॉम बेरिश टू बुलिश एंड बुलिश टू बेरिश. So conditions for a probable. Why do I use the word probable? Because everything is in terms of probability. There is no such thing as a certainty in technical analysis. It can warn us about an impending trouble which is coming. So divergence between price and RS line, what does it mean? Like हम RSI के साथ divergence देखते हैं. I think everybody knows how to see a simple divergence, bullish and bearish divergence with RSI. In this case, we are going to see we are going to compare divergence with the RS line, the ratio line, and in all my charts, I have used Nifty for the purposes of comparison. So price is making a higher high, but RS is making a lower high. Price is making a higher high, price ऊपर जा रहा है, लेकिन RS line is making a lower high, signifying that कि it is underperforming the market. Falling RS line at the time of जब support हमारा टूटता है, falling RS line below 200-day SMA on a daily chart and below 52 SMA on a weekly chart. So these are some of the signs of a reversal, some of the signs, probable signs of reversal. So friends, again the chart of HDFC Life. Can you see the divergence between the price and the RS line? Price made a new high, but my RS line at the time of the breakout and after that fall, can you see that divergence? RS has not made a new line, so there is a divergence. But can I simply just go कि नहीं भाई divergence है short कर दो? नहीं कर सकते हैं. It is warning us कि अगर कोई breakdown आता है, if there is a breakdown, then it will be a good probability. खाली divergence देखा short कर दिया, you will be finished. पैसे लग जाएंगे उसमें. I'm not suggesting that. So the moment I see a divergence between the price and the RS line, that is an alert for me कि अगर market turn करता है तो किसको short करोगे? मैं सबसे पहले ऐसे स्टॉक को शॉर्ट करूंगा. शॉर्टिंग का भी तो क्राइटेरिया होता है ना, हर किसी को तो नहीं शॉर्ट कर सकता. तो स्टॉक विद अ वीक आरएस लाइन विच इज शोइंग अ डाइवर्जेंस, प्राइस एंड आरएस लाइन डाइवर्जेंस, जैसे हम आरएसआई पे डाइवर्जेंस देखते हैं, सेम डाइवर्जेंस वी आर सीइंग ऑन द आरएस चार्ट. सो जब ये ब्रेकडाउन आता है, व्हेन दिस ब्रेकडाउन कम्स एट अराउंड द लेवल ऑफ, आई गॉट अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ वीक आइट 680 के लेवल पे जब ब्रेकडाउन आता है, तो before that there is a divergence in place. Second condition, my RS line is falling down, not rising at the time of the breakdown, and there is a divergence. तो जब ऐसा breakdown आता है, there is a good chance that the breakdown on the downside will be successful. Simple. Again, Jubilant Foodwork. See, there is a divergence between price and RS line. So जब ये divergence है, it's not that I am going to go immediately short. In this case, I am waiting for a support to be broken. Somebody may use a crossover in a moving average. वो मैंने आपके ऊपर छोड़ा. You can use any of your techniques for a reversal. I am using support. Somebody may use moving averages. Somebody may use MACD. That's up to you. But whenever this kind of phenomena will happen, it is warning me of an impending reversal. So at the time of the breakdown, when the stock price is breaking the support, there is a divergence. And since this is a weekly chart, I have plotted a 52-week. वीकली पे 52 प्लॉट करना और डेली में 200 प्लॉट करना, सिंपल। तो उसके नीचे चला गया है और सपोर्ट टूट गया, तो देयर इज अ गुड चांस कि ये सक्सेसफुल ब्रेकआउट ऑन द डाउन साइड हो सकता है। स्टॉप लॉस तो देखो फिर सब में ही है। ये तो ब्रेकआउट के समय किसी को भी नहीं पता कि वेदर इट विल बी सक्सेसफुल, वी जस्ट मैच द कंडीशंस कि हाँ ये कंडीशंस है, मे बी इट विल बी सक्सेसफुल। Similar chart Ultratech, after that divergence, it is doing nothing, and once the support is breaking, we have a falling RS line. RS is well below, this is a daily chart, the 200 SMA. So after this support breaks, it gives a good breakdown. So friends, क्या होता है ना कि जब bull market होती है, when the stocks are really rising, तो broader market is strong. अगर हमने ऐसा कोई divergence, when we see this kind of a divergence, we just don't go simply short कि भाई divergence है. No, we wait for a support to be broken or whatever tactics you are following for the purposes of breakout or breakdowns. House HDFC, this is the weekly chart of HDFC Limited. Again, price made a new high, but my RS is not making a new high. Price made a new high and RS is not making a new high, and at the same time we have a falling RS line. So what is it implying? It is telling me, boss, कि I am grossly underperforming the markets, point number one. Secondly, it is saying that when I am making a higher high, मेरे में इतनी strength नहीं है in comparison to the market. I am making a new high, but in comparison to the market, my strength is very poor. So उसके बाद जब break आता है, you can see that this is the weekly chart, so I have used the 52 simple moving average red line. When the support cracks, there is a good probability that the stock price would correct. So similarly, conditions for a probable bottom reversal, divergence between price, the reverse, exactly what we saw, price and RS line. Price makes a, if I am correct, if I have written correctly, price makes a lower low and RS line makes a higher low, just as we see a divergence with the RSI indicator. Second condition, RS line should be above 200 SMA on daily and 52 on a weekly chart and break of resistance. तो friends, ये Titan का chart है. Titan, I'm using line chart so that it is convenient for all of you to see the divergence. So Titan makes a lower low, but you can see at the bottom, RS line is making a higher low. So it is telling me कि stock में strength है, and when the breakout happens above the red line on the line chart, what are we seeing? And after that, we are seeing that my RS line is rising and it is above the 200-day line on the RS chart. So this is what we are doing for a bottom reversal. Again, this is a chart of Birlasoft. So it is quite evident that there is a divergence. RS price has made a new low, but RS line is not making a new low. So that is warning us that there is a chance of an impending reversal. It is not falling. Earlier it was falling more than the market. Now it is falling less than the market. This is what divergence means. So when the breakout happens, my on the weekly chart, my RS line is above the 52 week, and when the support is taken out, it proves out to be a good trade. So with divergence, there is a hint, there is a probability that there is an impending reversal. Similar, Britannia Industries, quite evident divergence between 2 points. Price has made a new low, RS line has not made a new low, there is a divergence. And on the weekly charts, again, when the breakout happens, my RS line is above the 52-week moving average, simple moving average, and rising. So this is what I look for in a breakout trade on the upside. Simple divergence concept with the RS line. So friends, I have published this indicator. You can note it down, RS indicator on the TradingView public library. It is available. The name of the indicator is Maverick Amit Relative Strength. अगर किसी को ये relative strength line TradingView में plot करनी है, तो you can simply use this and plot it on your charts to see whether the RS line is rising or falling. And those who are in the pro version of pro and pro plus version of TradingView, you can add indicator and an indicator. You can plot a moving average, simple moving average line also on the RS line. So friends, this was the basic concept of RS. And if somebody, sorry, excuse me, there's some problem. What did I press? Okay. So you can take a screenshot of this particular indicator. The code is there in the TradingView public library and you can use it. And apart from that, you can follow me on Twitter. I regularly share my views there. I have a YouTube channel also, a small one, just started recently. And I have a Telegram channel also. So you can follow me on all this. So that was about it on relative strength. And if there are any questions. Yes, sir. Yeah. SMA. I prefer SMA. Simple moving average. For daily chart, it is going to be 200, and for weekly, it will be 52. I have mentioned it in the PPT also. Okay. Anything else? Any questions? That's it. Thank you.